my love for science actually began in high school. I had an amazing biology teacher, Audrey Williams, and she represented me. She looked like me, she was beautiful, she was smart, but also she cared. She ensured that we all learned, but not only learned the material, but understood the material. So I know that when it comes to science education, the most important thing is teachers building relationships with their students, regardless of the content. But for science, we have to build relationships with our students because we have to create a safe environment, a safe culture in the classroom where students are willing to take risks, they're willing to ask questions, they're willing to inquire, they're willing to experiment, regardless of what other means or resources they may or may not have. Because inquiry is such an important part of ensuring that we're processing. So diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been a part of my mantra because it's been important that students in science obtain opportunities. So I've always been a science advocate, whether teacher, whether administrator, whether dean, because it's important that our students are allowed access to opportunity, resources, and that we are accountable as the adults in the classroom to ensure that our students have everything that they need in order to learn, in order to inquire, in order to prosper within our society.
Innovation is central to my teaching approach. As a second grade teacher, I work hard to help my students learn how to apply their scientific knowledge, environmental concern, and stewardship principles to real-world issues that our local and global communities are collectively grappling with.
The world and workplace students are facing is rapidly changing. Students in our classroom today deserve to see the relevance in their learning not only to the world they live in now, but to prepare them for their future.
Are the oceans becoming saltier?
Yes.
No.
And more acidic.
No.
Oh, we got an argument.
Glacier waters.
Glacier waters entering the oceans? So are they becoming less salty?
Yeah.
I'd actually say it's pretty much staying the same because it's evaporating because of the heat. And
When you have evaporation?
it's evaporating because
Okay.
of the heat and the...
So what
like she
regions
said,
of the
salty.
world get saltier? Where do you have more evaporation?
Definitely like by the equator.
Okay, so it's getting saltier near the equator, so maybe plankton there would have trouble?
Yeah, and then it's getting less salty up here, up north, and down
north.
south because it's getting diluted.
Our classrooms cannot continue to reflect yesterday when our students will be living in tomorrow.
Innovative instruction leads to innovative thinking. One of my students recently told me that because of how we learn in class, she's able to look at the world in a whole new way. When she goes outside now, she thinks about why things work the way they do and how the different parts of nature work together. My hope is that that type of thinking will also lead her to look at the natural world and think about creative ways that we can produce products based on the adaptations of the organisms and the things that we see surrounding us, solutions to the problems that we're trying to solve. I heard a biology professor speak one time, and he said something that I've never forgotten. He talked about how education is like an ecosystem. Just like where I'm standing here with all the organisms interacting with each other and with their environment, we are all part of what makes the educational system work. And it's not just those within the district. It's universities, it's community businesses, it's community outreach programs. We all work together so that our students can be supported and so that they can have opportunities that will enrich their learning.
All students benefit by interacting with professionals, businesses, and organizations that are positively contributing to their communities.
STEM prepares young scholars for future career successes by preparing them for problem-solving initiatives, analyzing information, providing them with skill sets, challenging opportunities, and allowing them to become highly employable and prepared with a toolbox of skill sets.
My students were able to do water sampling that they probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, because the only thing that I could have done previously before the grant was just talk about it abstractly. But I was able to immerse my students in the process, and oh, if you could have saw their faces when they were actually having fun doing real science.
The open-ended nature of PBL provides rich opportunities to center my students' own lived experiences and their families' intergenerational wisdom.
Before, we were doing basic labs using things that we would find around the kitchen, around the household. It was very limited. So now with these new sensors and microscopes, we're able to take their learning from here to way up here.
The NSTA conference is the largest gathering of science teachers in this country. It's a great opportunity to network with other science teachers, learn about new pedagogies and resources, and to hear from experts that are in the field.
In the past, I've gone to NSTA conferences and been inspired to do integrated works of art and science, like My Human Beings over to the left. I've also been exposed to really cool ways of integrating VR and computer science in science classrooms, thanks to organizations like Merge, who have the Merge Cube. This year at NSTA, I'm really excited to now be in the position to share with my colleagues how to integrate engineering design and computer science. In fact, I'll be showcasing in Engineer Your GSS how to implement CAD motorized toy cars or solar panel vehicles.
So one of the biggest things that us as teachers can do is network with each other. A conference of this magnitude allows me to do that with people that's outside of the state of Mississippi. And in talking with my peers, I can get inspired by new ideas that I can implement in my classroom by learning more through them.
NSTA conference will help and inspire me to do more in my daily teaching learning process, especially in the field of curriculum-based professional learning, the use of effective and latest way of assessing student learning, and the use of cross-cutting concepts in producing and honing a value-laden, socially aware, scientifically and technologically literate, and lifelong learners.
My conference plan for this year's conference is to identify classes that provide me with the in-depth strategies to help assist me with dual language scholars who do not speak English. I want to ensure that the instruction that I provide helps them make the connection using auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learning that helps them enjoy science all while they are learning another language.
This conference is going to support the needs of my students because I want my students to have more hands-on experiences, and I also want my students to feel as if they do truly belong in STEM. And I know by attending this conference, I am going to pick up on many new skills, and I will be able to bring back things that not only my students will benefit from, but other teachers that work in the same department with me as well.
What I really appreciate is about all these different fascinating projects that NSTA and other conferences present is that we're able to not just have that same boring classroom that we were exposed to, but truly have project-based learning which integrates skill sets for the job force in 2023. Students are able to do things like code, engineer, wire, solder, etc.
My plan to support the needs of my students by attending the conference is getting new ways of learning opportunities for my scholars that they probably won't ever get the chance to hear about outside of the state of Mississippi. Learning new ways to teach them so that I can reach all students, not just most students, but all students, because I believe all students can grow.
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Shell Oil Company, for providing this opportunity to allow teachers like myself and others to attend the conference and to learn best practices. And it's always a pleasure to see a very prestigious company like Shell continue to support teachers in the field.
Thank you to Shell for this recognition and opportunity.
It's all because of Shell and because of NSTA that we have this new community. We are going to be able to work together to once again help our students be the next great innovators.
I appreciate the National Science Teaching Association and Shell's commitment to honoring excellence and innovation in science education.
Thank you, Shell, for this amazing opportunity you've given me to provide all the scholars now and in the future with an ongoing STEM learning program on my campus.
I just want to say thank you so much, and I definitely do see some students that left that room who were like, this science thing isn't too bad.
This would not have been possible without the Shell grant being awarded to us. With this, our students are able to flourish and become future global citizens. So with that, I'd say thank you.
I would not be here without you, literally. So I would love to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And most important, thank you for helping my students.
Thank you so much to Shell and to NSTA for this gracious award.